Hey, folks. Mr. Luke, are you there?
Yeah, I was muted.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what was wrong on my end.
Yeah, no, it was nothing on your end. No, I decided to go ahead and start the stream with a slideshow roll. Since you were running a little late. No problem or anything. Because I mean, you're you're like a minute late. So yeah. So I think we're still waiting on Mike. So before we actually get started, because we'll wait till Mike gets on. Um, um, how's this week been? Are you there, Alex?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure something out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, are we recording?
Yes, we are live. Hello.
Hey, folks, sorting out some technical difficulties.
That's fine. This is Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. I am your host, Luke Hersey. With me tonight is Alex McLean. He's working on things, and Mike will be joining us here in a minute.
Hi.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Mike. Are you there? Hey, there's Michael.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mike.
Hey.
Hi.
We're talking about Death Stranding tonight. Before we get into that, I was just asking Alex, but I'll ask you too, Mike. What have you been into this week?
Just painted my porch today.
Painting your porch?
Yeah. So that was exhausting.
I can imagine. I mean, I painted my driveway. Well, I mean, I sealed my driveway, and that was exhausting. Here not too long ago. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. I haven't done it in 6 years, so I'm way out of shape for that.
Oh, yeah. So, um, and me, I am actually playing through Borderlands 3. Um, Man, it was always under my impression that Borderlands 2 was the better game, but I am really liking Borderlands 3. Maybe I just don't remember 2 that well, but maybe not. I don't know. Alex, what do you got going on? What have you been doing this week?
I'm really excited about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. And
Yeah.
yeah, it came out yesterday. It is just as good as the last one. Um,
Is it better?
it's
I hear it's better.
It is, pros and cons. I would say it's a harder game, which I think is pretty cool. Um, I feel like the bosses aren't quite as inspired as the last one, and those were kind of the coolest part of the first one. But it is still the same tight gameplay, new characters, new features. Real happy with it.
Awesome. So I wanted to start tonight before I get into the meat and potatoes with a joke. So Bethesda tweeted out the other day that they were currently investigating connection issues. Turns out that nobody's playing their game and they'd want to find out why.
Oh no.
I mean
No.
that we all play 76, so it's kind of a joke that hits close to all of us, but still there is a few things. I mean, I've played the Wastelanders expansion a little bit. I think Mike has. And
Oh,
Alex, have you played any of the new Wastelanders expansion?
Very little bit.
Yeah. And
I'm done.
I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. I mean, it's better, but it's better than nothing. So I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
So
oh.
anyway, okay. So to this episode, Death Stranding, which comes out the 14th next week, Monday, Tuesday. I don't know. I'm not looking at a calendar, but yeah. I just got it for PlayStation 4, played it through completion, and my God, is that a good game! It is a fantastic game. It is, and I was telling this to Alex here the other day. Quite possibly one of the greatest sci-fi stories I have ever experienced. It is absolutely amazing.
That's high praise because I know Luke is into like really real sci-fi, and it's high praise, man.
And it's not just movies or TV shows or video games, but also books. I mean, what is his name? Orson Scott Card, one of my favorite sci-fi novelists. He wrote the Ender's Game series, not just the Ender's Game book, but the whole series that goes along with that. Which, by the way, if you're looking for a sci-fi series to check out, that is a good one. Um, but this is a fantastic sci-fi piece, and a lot of people have said have criticized it for being a game, that uh, it's not totally like a game, and truthfully, I don't know if it really should be considered a game. It's more like an art piece. I mean, if we're talking about in terms of like movies in sci-fi, I would look at this as like Space Odyssey. Yes, it's a movie, but it's a little bit different than a movie. Another one that comes to mind as far as space epic that really kind of is on a different level is Interstellar. Interstellar is it's exploring concepts higher than just your run of the mill. I mean, I love Star Wars, but Star Wars is surface level. It's not deep, and not by a long shot. So
I'm reminded whenever you say whether it should be considered a game or a narrative or what, I'm reminded of a quote by, which I'm paraphrasing, by Chris Sawyer, the designer of the Roller Coaster Tycoon games and the SimCity games.
yeah,
Is it there's four different kinds of games. There's sport games in which there's a score that somebody has to beat. There are
okay,
toys, games that are essentially a toy. There's no objective to it. There's no end. It just you
like a
just play it
sandbox game.
like a sandbox game. There are narrative gameplay, and then like just straight narrative. That would include audio dramas, or what are those?
Like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was
Yeah.
just a narrative.
Hmm.
Um, in
Firewatch.
what?
What's that, Mike?
Firewatch also.
Oh,
Firewatch.
I
Hmm.
haven't played that. That's on my list.
Uh,
That's on my list. So I actually wrote up some stuff on this. Kind of getting my headspace in the right area, as far as this, and also said that this isn't totally boring. So I'd like to read over that with you guys if you'd like to hear it.
Nah, I'd rather not.
All right. Well, then what are we gonna do for another 20 minutes?
I don't know, man. Tell us about
Okay.
what's the name? Norman Reedus and his amazing fetus.
Norman Reedus and his
ah,
amazing fetus.
I'm
Man,
sure you've never heard that one before.
no,
actually,
I
I haven't.
haven't heard that one
What?
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be a full review. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. So Death Stranding, there was a lot of discontent for the release of this game. So let's just get that out of the way. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the split of Hideo Kojima and Konami were ultimately before the release of this game. In fact, it was midst the release of Metal Gear Solid 5. Reason I mentioned Metal Gear Solid 5 is because it's totally relevant to the discontent with this game. Now, Metal Gear Solid 5, a lot of people that didn't play it on release but are playing it now are celebrating it for how great of a game it is. And that's, I think, because people are focused more on the game rather than the controversy. And I mean, I just finished Metal Gear Solid 5, and I mean, I've told a bunch of people about it, and they're playing it now, and they love it. That's all they're playing now. So I think that, we should start looking at our things at face value. But going on past that. Now,
You know that's never going to happen, right?
right. Right.
Movies are reviewed before they come out. The hate train starts for every video game before it comes out.
Yeah, and it's
What, The Last of Us Part 2? I mean, that's not a series that
oh
I'm into,
man.
but the hate train was ready for that game weeks before it came out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a massive leak, so a lot of people knew kind of what was going on with the story. So,
So go on.
now I understand that many people, part of the other side of the controversy was a lot of people were expecting his game to be more tactical, for his first game for his studio. Because, Metal Gear Solid was his most popular franchise, that it was his baby. But I'm going to bring up another director that really kind of liken or harkens to that same kind of company split of Hideo Kojima and Konami, and that's Tim Schafer and LucasArts. The first game that came out from Tim Schafer when he started Double Fine Studios was Psychonauts. And I think that was a perfect game for his first game with his new studio, because it showed us what his studio was about, what his studio can bring to the table that wasn't with LucasArts and would have never been introduced. Now, Grim Fandango was right there on that cusp, but Psychonauts just brought us something that was totally amazing, and it's a cult classic. And I feel like that's what this game is going to be considered for a long time, as a cult classic game. Now,
You know,
go ahead.
I gotta say, you mentioned Hideo Kojima and his split from Konami. I feel like at this point, Kojima is a well beloved name in the gaming industry. When you see his name attached to something, that gets anybody excited. That was the first thing that I heard about Death Stranding, is that Kojima's on this. He's making a new game. Just that. Just that. And you get things like that with movie directors. Whenever
Christopher Nolan.
James yeah, whenever Christopher Nolan's making something, get hyped for whatever it is because he's making it. Or
Taika
James
Waititi.
Cameron, or, yeah, or different actors. Kojima is one of those. There are a few of them in gaming. I mean,
When I hear Tim
Sakurai.
Schafer, when I hear Tim Schafer coming to, directing a new game, I'm like, holy crap, I got to check this out. And that was exactly what it was for Brutal Legend. A lot of people didn't like that game, but I loved it. And it's a Tim Schafer game. I mean, yes, Jack Black is in it, and some people don't like Jack Black, but after playing that game, I do. Hi, Hazel. Okay. Now, reviewers had mislabeled this from the very beginning as a walking simulator. And really, just to put it within that box is kind of like an oversimplification, but to be more accurate, it's a hiking simulator. And even that is an oversimplification. Now, to set up the game world, Anybody that's watched Stranger Things season 1 or any of the seasons, but at least season 1 or even the movie Coco. Oh, sorry. I had something in my teeth. It just came out. Um, you are familiar with, from those two media pieces, with the in between or the upside down or the space between this world and the afterlife. In the world of Death Stranding, the lines between the physical world and the in between world has been blurred. And so you have the dead stranded within this physical world, the Death Stranding. That's an oversimplification, but without getting into spoilers. Which, by the way, I'm not getting into spoilers with this. Um, but that's trying to make it as simple as I possibly can. If you know about those two pieces of media, I mean, it's not even. It goes farther than just those two pieces of media, but still. Um, so in this world where the two lines are blurred, um, you have the vast majority of, and when I say vast majority, I mean like 99% of the survivors of this world going into bunkers. These bunkers are completely cut off from one another, so you can't easily get between those. Now, there are deliverers or porters that deliver packages from one place to the other, braving the harsh elements, harsh terrain, and nightmarish creatures. Now, in this game, you are Norman Reedus, or, Sam is who he is in the game. And by the way, holy crap, Norman Reedus was fantastic in acting this. He was absolutely phenomenal. He really brought it to the table. And my first exposure to him was Boondock Saints, but and then of course farther than that, The Walking Dead. Um, but man, he just really brought a new level to my respect for him, and it was already pretty high. So anyway, so the world in this game you play as Sam. So through circumstances, he's tasked to set up a network that allows these bunkers to be more connected. Not only to be able to voice chat and video chat or whatever, but also there are well, you know what a 3D printer is. It goes farther than that, where they're able to send matter from kind of like a transporter from Star Trek, but send matter that's organic and non-chemical from one bunker to the other. It still requires porters to deliver organic things, but simple things it can send from one to the other by utilizing the Death Stranding, which is by sending matter from the physical world to the in between and then back into another location. Pretty. I mean, it's interesting what they're doing here. They've set up this world and they're totally utilizing it. In fact, I brought up Ender's Game or Orson Scott Card. He had set up a universe within his first book and totally utilized it throughout the rest of the series, delving farther into the sci-fi world that he created. And that's what they're doing here. Is they are utilizing that sci-fi world. Am I losing you guys? Are you guys still good?
I I just have a personal beef with Orson Scott Card.
Oh, okay.
That's
Go ahead.
that's just that's just me. Well, he was at the West Virginia Book Festival last year,
Really?
and yeah, and there was a huge picket because he was there and boycotts, and because he was there, I couldn't sell any books. So,
why was there a boycott for Orson Scott Card?
oh, he's very anti-homosexual.
Oh, well, he's Mormon.
Well,
So I mean
yeah,
that makes sense. He's a very devout Mormon. So that kind of
and
make it kind of
most
makes
people who
sense.
buy books in Charleston are hipsters. So yeah, the cool kids. So
Charleston and Huntington.
yeah, that
Yeah.
whole area down in
I
there.
mean,
So
a lot
they're,
of
they're mixed up.
artists, you find out later on they're bad people. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Well, it's unfortunate when you sign up, to have a booth, and then later they're like, oh, by the way, here's this controversial guy who's going to be there. Good luck selling
Right.
books.
Yeah, they kind of messed you up, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess my beef should be with the book festival actually, but eh,
It is what it is.
yeah,
I mean, I read H.P. Lovecraft, and he is also not a good person.
he
You
won't be at
know.
the festival though.
Well, no.
He's dead now though, right? H.P.
Oh yes,
Lovecraft? Yeah,
yeah.
I thought so. So he was. He was. Um all
But
right.
anyway,
Getting back. So, now we were talking about how porters have to deliver their packages back and forth. So the hiking part of this is we've already said that everybody's kind of gone into hiding. So in have has been for years. Our world not maintained quickly goes natural again. And that's kind of where this is. This is harsh terrain. This is elements kicked up to 10. This is the in fact actually there's a weird element with the rain. Not going to get into it. Really cool though. First time when I was revealed that in the game, I was like, what? So,
I'm
um,
aware of it.
yeah. So
It's
anyway,
kind of cool.
it is. It is kind of cool, and it's another element that you're using within the game world. So anyway, so you're crossing. You have to cross America to reconnect everybody in this network. You have to go over mountains and through rivers. By the way, rivers. You have to. You know, it you either have to lay down a ladder and try to cross over that river, or throw down a throw down a rope and try to cross that way, and hold on to the rope. Um, but you cross snow covered plains, which, by the way, as far as like snow covered stuff, so in one part of the game, you go all the way around this mountain, and then you have to go back on the other side on the next mission. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just try to cross this mountain. So I went over it, and it took forever because it was covered with snow, and you know, trudging through anything that's not flat terrain in this game is really difficult. So it was cool though, because after I went over the mountain a couple times, the game had read that I had gone over the mountain a couple times, and my game is connected with other people's games, and so other porters, um, I was crossing over the mountain. Not only was there kind of a path through the snow, making it easier for me, but I got halfway over, and there was two NPC porters going over my trail. And I was like, that's really cool. And another thing, I mean, when you build a bridge, other players can use your bridge, or you can be going to an area you've never been to, and you can there. Oh, there's a bridge there. Let's use this. Or why did they put a bridge here? There's the really cool little elements that that you they've utilized so well in this game. Now, to bring this better into the game world, um, Alex, Mike, have you ever been hiking through the woods?
Yes.
Yeah, actually took a walk just today.
Okay, so have you ever been presented with a big ass rock right in your path?
Kind of. I was trying to pick blackberries and raspberries, and you know those always grow in the worst places, right?
Right, right. So, what did you do when you were presented with that big ass rock? Did you walk around it, or did you try to climb over it?
I climbed down it. Yeah.
I threw a
Okay,
bomb.
okay.
Oh yeah. God, I didn't. I don't have the bombs yet.
Uh, Sometimes a hammer works.
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so anyway, um, so what if you try to climb up the rock? What about when you got to the other side? What if there was a sharp decline on the other side of that rock? Did you bring a rope?
Hmm. Yeah.
Did you bring a rope to get yourself down? In the game, you can expect that maybe you might come up to a rock and that you might have to go up it. So you bring a ladder with you, and then you bring a rope with you. Those two things can make your game easier. However, those two things can also add weight to you. Have you ever tried to carry a rope and a and a ladder through the woods? It's not easy. Even if you compacted it well and everything like that. It's not easy. Um, and those are the kind of things that you have to think about through the game. What if I come across the river? I have to throw down a rope so then I can hold on to it while I cross this river. Because maybe you have no choice but to cross that river. There's no other point A to point B thing. You can try to go up and downstream and see if there's a better place to cross, but that might not be the case in the game. Um, you might luck out and find a rope already put down by another porter or a bridge built or something like that. But I mean, those are things that make the game more interesting. And these are the things that you have to think of when you're traversing. Now, later on, you do get a motorcycle. However, um, am I boring you guys?
Yeah. I'm awake. I'm awake.
You do get a motorcycle and a truck later. But again, I was saying that this is rocky terrain, so you can't use it everywhere. Um, Now later you can actually build highways, and other people can help you build highways, other players. Um, but that costs materials that you might have to build a ladder with later, or 10 to get over a mountain, or go down to a mountain.
So there are resource management
Yeah,
elements to
yeah, there
this.
is resource management elements to this. You don't want to use everything all in one shot because you might not you might make it harder for you later on. Now, let me give you an actual uh, instance for the game, a little scenario. Um, so in the game, there is a bunker that you have to deliver to way down into a canyon. Took a bunch of ropes. It was hard getting down there because the ropes aren't long enough to get down into a canyon. So I had to like throw down a rope where I saw that there was a place that I could throw down another rope halfway down. It took me about 5 or 6 ropes, and then I was finally down to the bottom of the canyon. And then when you get into the bunker, then you're presented with Conan O'Brien.
We've heard.
Yeah, heard
He,
about that.
yeah, he's pretty funny in the game. And these bunkers, they can give you special materials to make your game easier, which is another element of the game. The more work you put in, the easier things can be. He specifically gives you an otter hat, a hat shaped like an otter, and it specifically allows you to not get easily swept away when crossing a river. Now, don't worry that you're taking his only otter hat because he has an otter one.
Uh,
Uh, he
That
actually,
that that's a Conan joke.
yeah, yeah, he actually says it in there, and I'm like, oh, it's just, it was real refreshing in this dystopian society. You got this one guy that, has a, good outlook. He's pretty funny. Um, Now, for me, talking about this game, me personally, as you guys may or may not know, and I know you guys know, but I mean viewers, um, I've had brain surgery, and
right.
as a result, I can't hear on the one side. So I have very little inner ear. So no balance. So hiking, like actual hard hiking, like I can still walk on trails and stuff like that. But actual hard hiking, I can't do anymore. Um, and when I grew up in Maine actually, and when I grew up in Maine, we had like acres of woods behind us. So when I was growing up, I was either playing Nintendo or hiking in those woods. Um, and I mean, it was something that I really liked doing, and this allowed me to reconnect with something that I truly liked doing. Yeah, I know it's not as hard as hiking, but it's not as easy as just pushing forward on the control stick. It's a lot more difficult than that because it's something like if I step wrong on this rock that I see coming up, I could stumble and drop everything. Or this slope that I'm walking along, it's leaning to the left, so I gotta grab onto my right backpack harness to steady my balance. It's those kind of things that it it makes it more difficult, but it's all within the game world. It's all it doesn't seem like it's an element that's just thrown in. It's something that would actually feel weird if it wasn't in it. You know what I mean? It'd be like a game where you're in a war zone and you're not fighting at all. Well, actually, there is a game out there like that, but yeah,
You
there's
know, it's stuff like that. I've not played the game, but it's stuff like that that tells me that is the gameplay. And I think that's really cool, really unique that the walking is the gameplay, but it's not like Skyrim where you hold forward and you go. There's so much more to it than that.
right. And then of course we were talking about, taking along things and added weight. Rudy Reyes, if you remember when he was on here, he made a really good point, and it was actually something that I used like when I was thinking about stuff in the game. Um, and that was, I asked him, how heavy he would make his backpack, and he said, "Well, you got to really think about all the stuff that you bring with you. You got to make use of every bit of weight." And his saying was, "Pounds are ounces, and ounces are pounds." And all those ounces add up, and and just like that with the game, it's just now it does get easier later because you end up getting a power exoskeleton that lets you carry more. Um, but then there's different exoskeletons you get later on in the game. There's one that's for speed and one that's the one for going over mountain terrain. So you have to kind of decide which one you want for delivering to the different areas. And you don't want to take all of those exoskeletons with you because those weigh, weigh weigh a punch too. So now, there is one more thing that I wanted to say, and that was that the story. I don't want to spoil the story, but the story has such a heavy element and such a multiple twists that I actually liken it to some of the best games out there, like what did I have? Spec Ops: The Line, or Bioshock Infinite, or even, and you guys might even argue with me, Final Fantasy VII.
I won't argue with you on that.
Well, let's play it first.
And eh, that's what I that's why we're here. It's not just for you guys, for our viewers too. Everybody needs to try this game and actually give it an effort because it's absolutely amazing.
When it goes
Um,
back on sale again.
hmm?
When it
Oh
goes
yeah,
back on sale
Yeah.
again.
yeah. Well, I know Alex. He's got a rock and roll PC, so I would suggest playing it on there because man, I got the PS4 Slim, and I can't even imagine that game on 4K because the game world is absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. And not just the environments, but all the little things to go along with it. Yeah, just a
I'm
fantastic
gonna
game.
say, other people I've talked to, my buddy Jeremiah was crazy, crazy into it for a while. That everybody I've talked to who's played the game sounds like Luke. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to it.
I'm just waiting for that sale again.
Yeah, right.
I missed it
Well,
by a day last time.
to tell
Yeah.
you the truth, I mean it's hitting PC, so I mean I would not be surprised if it doesn't hit um, like a sale on the 14th. So
Yeah.
I'd be looking for it.
The
So
one thing, the one thing I will say about PlayStation exclusives, of which this is about to not be, they always make good use of the the audio on the controller itself.
right, that's one
Um,
of the things that actually um, is actually good on Death Stranding. You can make it so that all of the noises, all of the coos from your baby, you can
Maybe.
actually make it come out of the controller, which
Yeah,
would be
I heard about
about
that.
where the,
Yeah, it
you're
would
holding
be.
it. Yeah, right about there. So it it's just a little small element that's just really cool. And yeah, it's one of those things that PlayStation does well.
And Horizon Zero Dawn was the same way, which is also coming to PC. So I'd be curious to see how the PC compensates for those lost gems on the PlayStation.
Did you hear that day one of the pre-sale of Horizon, it was the most sold item on Steam that day?
I did hear that.
And
Which, yeah, yay!
I'm hoping that Sony looks at that and goes, yeah, maybe
Well, I
we
mean, they're
should look.
making a second one, so they know.
Yeah, maybe we should. I mean, I do not doubt that that will come to PlayStation first because a lot of
Sure.
people are going to be buying a 5 for that game. But if they come out with it 6 months to a year after the PlayStation release on PC, I think that Sony would be dumb not to do that.
I mean, that's going to sell me on a PlayStation 5 eventually.
Right.
Um, I mean, I may wait a year, but I will get a PlayStation 5 for that game. I guess it's going to wait a year before it comes out, anyways. So
Yeah.
excited.
So, any questions about the game, guys? Also to our viewers, if
I
you
did read the synopsis originally, so I don't want to say anything either because I kind of know how it goes
do you know about the twist at the end?
for the most part. You know, the thing I've learned, like reading Wikipedia, like synopsis stuff, is reading it and actually experiencing it are completely two completely different things. Like I had done that originally with Breaking Bad, and like actually watching Breaking Bad is a different experience when reading what happened.
I
You know.
actually am I'm about halfway through now of Breaking Bad, and man,
Okay.
that has been a fantastic ride. It's been
Mhm.
really cool, really cool series. Um,
It gets good about halfway through, and then it never stops being good after that.
I've enjoyed the whole thing. I just not too long ago, a couple episodes back, I watched the Fly episode.
Okay. Ryan Johnson.
There are two kinds of people in this world: people who love the Fly episode and people who hate the Fly episode.
Well, that's also true for Ryan Johnson.
I kind of liked the Fly episode. In specific reason why is the dialogue. The dialogue was just phenomenal
Mhm.
in that episode. Nobody has asked any questions on the chat.
Uh, s-
So
De- oh, okay.
oh, go
Death
ahead.
Stranding. Um, so I'm told that you throw a jar of your own pee. Why is that
To grow
Um,
mushrooms.
in the game and maybe
so
in real life?
so trying not to
Spoilers.
spoil. Okay, you know, Sam is specifically his blood and urine and whatever else. Um, it is proven very effective against the um, the
Like the
things from the other
Ghosts?
side, the
Yeah.
beasts,
Hmm.
the beasts. So yeah, I mean that can cause them to stay away. You can kill them with your blood, um, which is really cool because that's another cool element that they do. So um, they make it so that the bullets you can get a gun later that fires bullets that's laced with your blood, so then you can kill the monsters. But the only thing is, it's actively sucking out your blood. So if you shoot too many times, then you kind of you'll be like almost dead. It
yeah,
it's yes.
Kojima makes weird games. I mean, that's everybody knows that.
Uh,
that's
I
true.
I will say though that he was finally able to put a whale in one of his games, and it wasn't weird.
All right then.
Because you remember how in 5, how they did that at the beginning? And it was like, what is going on? What is happening here? With this one, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I understand. So, well, all right. Anyway, I think everybody knows that I'm saying that this is a fantastic game, and they should play it. Um,
5,000 stars.
PlayStation, PC now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it actually comes to Xbox here um, on the Xbox Series X or the new one that comes this winter. I really wouldn't be surprised if it comes to Xbox as well. So everybody should play it. It's great. It's a great game. So
Alrighty.
all right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream now. This has been Luke with RGCWV, Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. This has been the review of Death Stranding. With me tonight was Mike Mallow
I'm here.
and Alex McLean. Welcome to the end.